When you're going on a trip, your travels are a lot more efficient if before starting you know which way and how far it is you're going. So now we're going to talk about the tool you'll use to find out which way and how far when you're planning a cross-country flight. And what is that magical instrument, you might ask? It's your plotter. Your plotter is actually part of the information imprinted on that plastic slide that moves inside your flight computer. It's marked so you can measure course directions and distances on a chart. Let's start with measuring distances. First, we need to talk about some potential traps or possible mistakes that you might encounter when you're using your plotter. If you leave your plotter on the glare shield in your airplane or on the dashboard of your car, it could get pretty darn hot. And if that happens, the plotter might warp, maybe even shrink. Warping isn't that much of a problem, although it can make it a little bit awkward, and your plotter probably won't work real well in the flight computer. The hard part comes if the plotter actually shrinks. If it's gotten really hot, the plotter can shrink as much as an inch or more. And if it has shrunk an inch, you're not going to get the same distances that everybody else does. Now, how can you tell if it shrunk? Well, one good way is to measure your plotter against the mileage scales on an aeronautical chart and see if it's still the proper length. Or, remembering that the latitude tick marks are spaced at about 1 nautical mile, you could probably lay your plotter along a line of longitude like so and check it that way. Now, the next potential trap is that there are 3 scales. The side of the plotter that you're looking at here is for a sectional chart. That's the one you'll be using most of the time. But the flip side of the plotter has a different scale, one designed for terminal area charts and one for wax. If you use the wax scale, you'll come up with twice the distance that you would if you had used the sectional scale. So let's say you're planning to fly from Downey Hyde Memorial Airport up here to Tigard Airport. The first thing to do is draw a course line from one airport to the other. Now measure the distance. In this case, you get 26.5 nautical miles. Another thing you can do with your plotter is figure out the true course. But before you start, you'll want to approximate the direction you'll be flying. Any clue in which general direction you'll be flying here? Roughly eastbound. So you know that you can toss out any answer that has you flying anywhere but roughly eastbound. And now let's read the instructions. The first one says, place the hole in the center of the compass rose over the intersection of the true course line and a line of longitude or latitude. Okay, so here we have the compass rose and here's the center hole. You need to look for either a line of longitude or a line of latitude that crosses your course line, preferably in the middle. So here we have a line of longitude. The next step is to align 0 degrees on the compass rose with the line of longitude. And remember that you keep the center hole on your true course line. And since we're using a line of longitude, remember we're going to use the 0 degree line. Next, you follow your true course line from the center to the compass rose. But which way do you go on the compass rose? We said earlier that you were flying in what direction? Roughly eastbound. So what you want to do is look in this direction because that's the side that indicates you're flying eastbound. As you can see, the true course lies 1 tick mark to the right of 60 degrees. So your true course is 061. You could use this line of latitude instead, and you can get the same answer. Here's how you do that. You move your plotter so that the hole is over the intersection of the true course line and the line of latitude. And as the directions state, align the 90-degree mark on the compass rose with the line of latitude. Once you have that set, look to the east and discover, again, that your true course is 061. So now you know how to use this handy little device to figure out which way you're going and how far it is. And you're well on your way to planning some really great cross-country trips.